I don't know what the category is. The category is so incredibly empty for me. Is there a category? I don't know. I don't know if there's a category. There isn't. It's, that's gonna confuse somebody. uh, yeah, sorry. I don't. It's being properly. I don't. Oh, there you go. How we do it. Definitely. That's how you be functioning. Yep. Uh, definitely. There you go. So that was a little much. One may me. I would say that. I would be the one saying that. I'm stressed, but it's fine. I don't know why I keep clapping. It's just a thing that I do now. It's just a thing that I do now, and that's perfectly fine. We all have little things we pick up every now and start doing why we're doing it or when to stop. All those fun little things. I have a headache. Sorry if I am a bit off. That would be why. Um, like, oh, I'm gonna start it really quick. Probably gonna. Oh, it's fuck. Don't need to close that. That's unnecessary. Um, to go in that and that and God, don't you love listening to me audibly say which buttons pressing? Okay, it's doing something. It's doing something, and that's damn good. That's it's pretty damn good. Better. First one's kind of funny. We'll keep that one, but we don't need the other two, who are unnecessary. Okay, so in music, right? Normally, music's fun. Normally, it's great. But I don't want to know. I don't want. Normally, music is a great class. Today, I don't know what it was. Some, something smelled so viscerally of rotting orange. Don't ask why I needed the. It needed to be. It was a necessity. This this room felt like rotting oranges. Their fucking class. It was ridiculous. It it was like I was in there for an hour, right? One singular fucking hour. That poor goddamn teacher must be in bed, cat a fucking tonic, right? Like it's like, how do you survive 6 hours in a room that smells that intensely of rotting orange? Like, I don't even know if it was actually rotting oranges. I don't know if it was, but I think it was because I'm pretty familiar with the smell of different rotting fruit. Don't ask me why. It'll probably be fine. Council crashes now. You'll be so happy to put on. Sorry, I'll be jumping from topic. Oh, that opened pretty. That see it? Can you hear it? Those are the two. Yes, you can. Well, you can see. Can you hear that? I cannot confirm. Probably not. Oh, I've broken it. I've broken. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're gonna continue with the dude we were doing stuff with last time. Because why not? I don't remember who that was. So we'll figure it out. It was this fella. I don't know his name. Barely know his face, let's be honest here. But I do vaguely know what he looks like, so that's okay. God, I didn't even I finished the fucking lava world and got too excited. I was like, hell yeah, I got past this in surprise. Yo, I have to deal with this fella on this day of the week. Monday. On a Monday. Who wants to deal with this petulant bastard on a Monday? Really? Just... What? I had a really fun experience of most of my year, like 60 out of 87 of us are going on a foreign trip. However, that does leave the question, what do they do with the kids that are left behind? That didn't want to pay over €500 to go on this trip. What do we do with them? Their solution has been to, like, yeah, come in anyway. We'll dump you in one classroom with the same 10, 20 people for the entire 7-hour day. We'll put you in that room and you'll deal with it. So, surprise, surprise, I don't think anybody's going in. That was... That wasn't... Oh, fuck. Yeah. Getting there. Oh, so slowly, but we're getting there. That fucking dodge. Did you see that dodge? That was so cool. Yeah, do you think they could be unfair? Get yoted, my man. This is going particularly speedy. Never gone this speedy before, I don't. That may be because I'm actually focusing on and it's not been... Normally, when we get to this bit, it's been like 3 hours, which it's been like 10 minutes at most. But you'd think that would be negated by the And like... To be fair, it's not even a really bad headache, right? It's just so persistent. Just there, and it's not gotten better or worse. I left. Like, I left school 3 hours ago, and it's the same. Fuck. Fuck. Fuck my guy. be allergic to bees, my man. Can you please? For me. For me specifically. I mean, it would mean a lot to me, right? Like, but yeah, no, every now and then I'll I do this thing where technically I have over the course of my school career been taught languages. And every now and then I'll just be like, huh, do I remember them? No? Nice. No, wrong way, me boy. You twat. And I've realized that I do. Okay, technically I still know like enough of the language to make very basic conversation. Like, I still remember all the introductions, all the pleasantries, right? I don't remember a lot more than that. Two of them, though. And I've realized, whenever I do, and I'm like, oh, what's this thing in this language? I'll say the phrase, right? And it will technically not be in English, but it'll be in Irish. Hello, cicada. It's not lightning powers, it's bee powers. Become bee man. Yeah. You just harness the bee. Ruin everybody's day with it. I know, good, as you should. I do think this is the fastest this by. Okay. Hey. I love B power. B power is great. Still working on that narrative. A. Of the Stardew Valley thing. Fuck. Hey. Look at us go. 13 minutes and we haven't fucking died yet. Quite impressive for me. Crossing a... Oh, sorry. Sorry. Somebody that I talked to been really into Stardew Valley recently. I apologize. I've also just never played either of them, so they're basically the same thing in my head. Like, I know they're different games, but it's like the same type of people play them, so I associate them with each other. Which isn't a bad thing. They've just got similar vibes. How's it coming along then? And break the barrels. Da-da-da. $699 gold. Thanks for that. Gonna be way too long. Can anything ever really be long in English? My current English teacher would say so. Like, oh, people won't read an open letter that's over 2 A4 pages. Yes, they fucking would. What the fuck? I've read open letters longer than 2 A4 pages. Shut the fuck up. So I might just be... I might be the outlier in this case. I have to do the whole storyline by 2 PM. Oh, nice! So good luck on that. Dude. Like, okay, so I don't like the fact that the person was just like, yeah, we'll just go into this chat and do some promotion stuff. I didn't actually read it. I just saw promotion and was like, no. But I do like the fact that their username is Sheer Cockpit. Good name. He didn't even shoot back at you. You're just a pathetic little bit. Forget for being absent. God, it just gets worse the older you get. It's like, oh, we've actually covered 17 chapters at the time where you were gone. Whoopsies. I should start reading Classroom more. That's probably, yeah. What? Great at this. Our fucking yearhead, because of the foreign trip that's happening, because not everybody's going, has been like, be careful where you talk about the foreign trip, because some people aren't able to go. Like, you could have said that before dragging everybody in the year to an assembly specifically for the foreign trip. It wasn't like, oh, if you're not going, you don't have to come. No, it was everybody has to be at this assembly. And you just... Like, be mindful that some people aren't going on this trip. It's just like, you be mindful. Okay. God fucking damn. Hey. Ooh. We've gotten a tactic for the boy. For the wormy boys. That is a good thing. Because I didn't. It was stand and shoot. That was my tactic. Okay, listen here, you piece of squat. Yeah, get beat, motherfucker. I do still really enjoy the little fucking pyramid thing in the background. No, my kid guidance, which is basically, oh, what job could you possibly want in the future? You shouldn't go for it. Was legit like, basically straight up just said, yeah, jobs. It's a pyramid scheme. I mean, okay, good for you. Ah. The goddamn volleyball and like, I don't want to do some volleyball. I don't want to. Bad. I just don't like it. Hey, run away then. Ah! That is the first time in quite a while that they've hit one of the slime. Keeper is one of the worst characters. I did not. I don't know a lot about the actual characters. We're just like, which one should we do today? Which one looks vaguely... Magic Splash is walkable. That does... like, that does kind of get rid of the useful. Just a tad. A bee. Hell yeah. As he should be, really. Like, what else would you pick if the bee... The bee boy. Who else? Yes. Bees. They're great. I love bees. And at some point over the summer, I was like, you know what? I really like bees, but I don't actually know the difference between. Then I went on like a too long thing of just looking up bees. Great, I loved it. Welcome. Yeah, hi. Hey. If I could keep track of myself, that would probably be. I don't actually know if I remember a lot from it, other than which types of there are, but it was fun while it lasted. Oh! Damn, looky. Oh, I need to shut one of them up. Oh no. Oh. Okay, we're in the Okay. I didn't. Oh, okay. I'm normally worse at that bit. Normally, a lot worse. By like quite a margin of I'll die like 3. I do think that's the 2-week long bee period started. I was like, why are some bees solitary? I think that was the basis of it. Ah, why do you do that? Give me sky. Oh. That long um Shane Shanix? Long Shanix? Shane? Shane? Yep. Thank you, Long. Shanks, okay. And didn't get there by myself, but we did get there, and that's all that matters. So, thanks, Works. What, are you telling me you don't want to just be called Long? Why would you not want to be called just Long? But yeah, thank you. I hope you fuck. Okay, 7 things just fell over. I hope you continue to enjoy your stay. I don't just do fuck. I hope you can enjoy your stay. I don't just do castle crashers. If you couldn't tell. If you couldn't tell. I'm gonna pick those things up from the floor. Everybody takes my name weird. I'm glad to be another statistic. I don't even really know what fell. I know it was loud. Okay, I found out what fell. It was a cup onto a metal thing. It didn't. The cup didn't land upside down though, which was quite impressive. I'm gonna see if my hands start now doing what I ask. Okay. Yeah. No need to. No need to tell me that I haven't progressed. That I haven't changed. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. You're playing Castle Crashers. Drop your cup. I do that an embarrassing amount. This time it was an empty cup though. It was an empty cup this time. Look at me. I have grown. Not much. Not much. But a little bit. Bit. To be fair, most people probably found me through Castle Crashers. It was a year ago. More than a year ago. It was a year and a month ago. As you've just done your phone. 1 year, 1 month, and 30 days and 20 hours. Almost a month. Almost a month. What? You've almost been here for a month. Would you look at that? My god. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, how speedy can I go through this? I don't care. I just want to run over this fellow with a fucking camel. It does 1 damage. Oh, I already had access. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that to get the zebra because I had it. I do have it. I had just forgot. I hate the buff boy. I hate them. I hate them with my whole heart. They're so obnoxious. Oh, hello, Nightmare. What does the zebra do? Save the tiger? I don't think I've got any bombs on me. I don't. I would save the tiger. I've saved the tiger in the past. Not today. Okay. Stop strafing, please. I can't deal with you strafing. Strafing, not strafing. I can't deal with you strafing either. Go to a therapist, not to me. Chain face scars, you. I love tiger too. I don't really know why I've got Rami. Don't even remember what the actual name. I like the toilet paper goat. Toilet paper goat brings me comfort. Those beefy guys are menacing. Oh, I'm aware. Oh, are they? Are you sure? Hey, stop it with your fucking magnet hands. I hate the magnet hand. I'm as good for. Are they different? Though I don't know. You go to the gym, the other couple don't. This is what will happen when you go to the gym. You'll double your height in comparison to that of your. And your forearm will be the size of their entire body, but your head will stay the same size. Can't juggle. I can't juggle anything easily. Oh, thank you for shooting your friend for me. I guess they aren't really your friend if you're shooting them. Combos? I am currently using, therefore do not know what that translates. That translates. Heavy? Okay. I'm just good at spam clicking. That's how I've gotten this far. Just spam clicking. Genuinely though, it is basically just... Okay, warning for before we get to the volleyball. It's either going to be so horrendous you'll want to cry, or it's going to go really well. I don't know what type of day it is yet. It might be a really bad hand-eye day. Going off of 5 minutes ago, it's a really bad hand-eye day. So, yeah, forewarning, it might not go well. We've gotten better. Not that much better. Not too much better, you know? Like, be fun to see this go and compare. Oh. Well, it's... When would Cicada... So... Okay. So it would have been about end of January. Don't see any... God damn. Now, here's the time when we find out I didn't. Like, the one that I didn't. 17th, 20th, 27th. 1 month. Basically oh, start January 6th. But I understand why people, fucking... Why people get good at... If words work. Might look at it. Or contemplate. Yeah, I'm just shit at juggling. I don't know, the counting just throws me off so bad. Ready? Bad hand-eye day. Just look at the shadow, that's all you need to do. Line up the That's all you need to do. You just need to line up the shadows. That's all you need to do. That's it. That's it. I promise. I promise. That's it. I promise. That's all you need to. That's all you need to do. It's all you need to do. I promise. You don't need to do anything else. Oh, it's not the third. It is. To be fair, they scored most of my points for me. No, to jump. Yeah, now I know that I can jump during it, so it's all's good. I mean, really, it's so much like it's a vast improvement. No, that was an apparently. What a Minecraft. That says September. Can I not read? Can I not read? It's a genuine question. It's a question, and I ask myself every day, and the answer is consistently no. Fuck. Bump you. Probably not. I have them labeled by date, not by. Oh, yeah. Just know it took me like 8 minutes. Several times. Oh my god, who could have guessed what this. Oh my god. Oh my god, we've never seen that before. We've never seen it before. I don't think we could see it before, even if we wanted to. I don't think we could even take a gander if we tried, if we felt like it. If we even decided one day that we really felt like it, I don't think we could see. I think that's forbidden knowledge. Get dragged, motherfucker. But yeah. It no longer takes me quite as long. It was a genuine struggle. God, what the first... I could probably find you the first Castle Crashers stream than whichever one in January of last year that joined. Look at him, he just dancing. Oh shit, he's been electrocuted. Oh, motherfucker. Electrocution and buff? What is this? America? Russia? What kind of not quite so human experimentation is this? Is this Lovecraft? I wonder, okay. What are the chances, right, that Minecraft got its name inspired through the writer H.P. Lovecraft? What are the chances? Like, they had to have come up with the idea for Enderman from something. You know what? It is fear of the unknown. Whole thing. Fear of the void. I think everybody should have a healthy dose of fear. Just so that nobody infringes on, like, my space. You know, it's just like, it would be more convenient for me. Left. Mushrooms are basically Lovecraft? Genuinely. Electrocuted mushrooms are even more so. Like, oh, you've been exposed to something and you've changed your entire physiological thing. Like, I think there's a good chance. I think there's a good chance that it was inspired by Lovecraft. Like, Minecraft, Lovecraft. Like, one's a last name, one's literally what's written on the tin. No, it's like, gas. What the fuck are those things? That's pretty Lovecraftian. Witchcraft? Look at you go! I don't know any. I've run out. I've run out of words ending in craft. Myth. They're kinda similar. Somebody named their child Minecraft. I think that would be the day where everybody would have to die. Just humanity's gone too far. It needs to end. Yes. Oh, hello. I need to stop trying to create people. Oh, Javi. Sticking with it. How's your day going? Cubecraft? Yeah, but that isn't like a thing that isn't a Minecraft, is it? Like, as far as I'm aware, Cubecraft is basically knockoff Minecraft. God. We've really got to give a shout out to the knockoff Minecrafts. Going good, what about yours? Eh, of a headache, but you know what? It's not bad, it's just persistent. A little bit of a bitch. But other than that, it's gone pretty damn good. As in, nobody had a see. World of Warcraft? Very true. Fucking... No, that's also not fucking. Then we can connect that. Sun Tzu. Art of War. Papercraft. Very true. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I will take that into account. Look at Iris with all of these fucking words. God. Aircraft. Also, like, where do you think the Ender Dragon came from? Boom, we figured it out. Planes. Okay, how does WoW? All of the violence. the extreme violence in Minecraft. So far we've connected it to Lovecraft, Warcraft, Witchcraft, I guess, Papercraft, and Aircraft. The Ender Dragon. Minecraft. It's fucking dragon. Void dragon. Dragon leaves nuts on your face. Blue Ender of Worlds. I had to make a theory video on what's Ender. Please no. Ender? I hardly know her. Oh well. That's what they before they go in for a kill. Definitely. Yes. I'm not gonna regret any of these ever. Ever. It won't happen. It simply can't. It simply can't. So, question for Javi. How wrong am I saying? I'm doing it under the presumption Latin alphabet. No, this is a thing that I am forward. You know the way that people are always like, oh, your names aren't pronounced phonetically, or like, oh, you can't say that like all of these languages are phonetic. Like, sure, you can say that for like French, right? French isn't a phonetic language, right? But you can't say that about languages that don't share a Latin alphabet. Can't use that argument because they have different alphabets. Their letters are pronounced differently. It's like for Irish, most words are pronounced phonetically. It's just using a different fucking alphabet. Like Greek, different alphabet. Just because the letters look similar doesn't... Infuriating. I don't know why. Fuck. Stand over here. My buddies get involved. Oh wait, no. According to... Get your head out of English and or American. Hey. We're great at this. Nasty. I got accused of fish. It was through one of those, oh, this initial did this. And it was... I was like... friend asked why I ate their fish. I just responded. So that was it. That was the response. I get off about minor things. Because if not, then I'll get pissed off about an actually important thing. And, you know, that won't end well. Like, I'd rather get pissed off about how people pronounce things and what's considered phonetic rather than, you know, the Geneva Convention. And how most of that from Canada convention are because of Canada. Like, they seem really nice now, but they weren't always. Why don't you work anymore? That was not so sweet of you. Hey, unsweetened popcorn. Right off the cob. I hope one day to do coffee. Hey, let us go. The noise of him shitting himself is really disconcerting. Like, why do you... I made it out of maths. Good. It's gonna be really awkward one day when you don't make it out of maths. It's gonna be really awkward. When just you're like, okay, go into maths now. Just like, bye, see you in a bit, and you don't. Just never return. You just don't escape math. It just... One day, you're just stuck in there. I really like these. It's just so easy to float above them. Never be able to... Haha, loser. God, imagine choosing to do maths in university. Couldn't be me. There. Lemon is a nice flavor. I will admit I am much more partial. Like, I am bubblegum. If there is bubblegum flavored ice cream being sold somewhere, I will consume it. You will see it, you will blink, and it will be my gut. Any means necessary. Whether that's via injection, consumption, not consummate. I will not fuck bubblegum ice cream. A narrative. Close enough, isn't it? Of rainbow sherbet. I don't think it's old there.
Apple. It's an apple, my dude.
Doesn't like a good. But me, because it would probably break my. And I don't want to have to. Oh yeah, I'm getting my braces tightened today. Or ripped off, I'm not sure which. They haven't. I think it's gonna be tightened. I think. But I will probably be. There, which is very nice. They said it was gonna. Like. It's. God, wait, when did the fucking vaccine? A half ago. Like 2 or. Got off with the very long end of this. My jaw, not from my. Like, they decided there wasn't much to. Was there was somebody a while ago claiming to be like like an Irish historian or something, not of Irish descent, maybe. Fuck. If I put the microphone in my mouth, then maybe it won't. Huh? Fuck. Now you can hear my breathing. Okay, so what we do then is. Yeah. Can ask the dentist to do that. That would be quite convenient, though. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna be breathing on the microphone the next, like, 30 seconds as a test. Fuck. My breathing's about as loud as my talking from this distance. I hate it so much. Fucking. What the fuck? Bro. Can't hear. You can hear my breathing, but you can't hear me. This is the problem. My breathing's louder than my talking. I've figured it out. Okay, so. Oh, thank you, Javi, for the follow. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I do more than this. If you can't tell by how shit I am at it. God. Fucking damn it. What if I need a fucking windsock, my guys. That's how loud my breathing is. I'm infuriated. This is infuriating. I want to die. Somebody get me a fucking mesh guard. You can hear my nose as well. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how people do this bullshit. I don't understand it. Okay. Okay, so that's nice. Therefore, that's the other one. Ah! So that if I get too loud, it stops. Hopefully. Fucking bullshit. Bullshit is what it is. You can still hear it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this behavior. This unwarranted behavior. What if I just keep it there and just talk really, really fucking slowly all the time? It'll turn into ASMR. How do we feel about that, huh? How do we feel about that? Because I am losing my goddamn mind. I'm losing it. It's fucking gone. I'm hooked on feeling. I'm high and believing. Yeah, you're just gonna have to fucking deal with the breathing because my god, it's ooh ooh. I'll get a proper microphone at some point. Might be in 3 years, but it'll get here. Maybe. Maybe. See, here's the problem. I enjoy being able to breathe. But I really don't want you guys to have to deal with that. Because I'm aware that it's right beside my face. It's right there. What if we put it down a little bit, huh? What if we put it down there? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm also still annoyed because the notification still didn't give off any noise for me.
Piss off, you bitch.
It's bedtime, babes.
Ah.
Why are you so wide? Like, just... Not even, like, in most directions. Just in the back to front. Like... Just your shoulders. There's so much of them. And that fucking snake. Jesus Christ, my man. Oh my gosh. I was facing the wrong fucking direction. I need to plug my laptop in. Why? Because the screen just went dark. It has only been an hour. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Here's the thing. We started out friends. It was good, but it was all pretend. Yeah, since you've been gone, I don't know enough of this song to sing any have it really. Yeah, since you've been gone. Okay. This has only been 439 drop frames. It's fine. It's fine. It's a-okay. To be fair, that's actually pretty fucking good for me. That's pretty fucking decent. Why did some of them just not fucking hit? Here's the thing. We started out friends. It was cool. It was all pretend. Why do some of them just not fucking hit? So we're just like, nah, babes. Nah, thank you. I'd actually prefer not to, babes, if you would so kindly.
No!
Yeah, fuck you. King shit. We're on it. Somebody needs to restrain me. Are you ready for me to die at full moon 17 times? This is how we play the game. No, get. I like how I'm basically beating them with a honey stick. Like that's basically what it is. Let's face it. Let's look at it from a clear perspective. Of this honey stick just decapitated somebody. Sorry. The braces are getting caught on the cheek. That's why words are coming out funny at the moment. Other times it's just because I can't talk. Right now, it's because it's... yeah. They medically enforced a lisp on me, basically. That's what they did. Because unsurprisingly, when you talk for your whole life with your front jaw behind your lower jaw, it creates some weird talking patterns that you just don't grow out of in a year and a half. Walk faster, fucker. Like, my god. I am 100% sure that I'm going to be one of those people that completely, like, hates what the braces do to my face. Like, when they're gone. Just because, like, let's face it, I already have, fun fact, have problems with, my face. Having something changed a bit, that probably isn't gonna go down the best for my head. It's already like, that couldn't really be your face. And now it doesn't look like the one that you were already struggling to believe was your face. Now it's even more different for the third time. Isn't that just lovely? Isn't that lovely? Oh, that's fantastic. want to use it now. Okay, I kind of have to use it. Okay, this is fine. Oh, so I didn't have to use it. Oh, nice. Oh, lovely. Gotta love that. No, don't throw the body. I couldn't care less about that. Okay, you know what, Rami? If you could, like, just do that to anybody that's coming up behind me, so you could stop ruining my extra damage output things, please? Please? Por favor, mi amigos? Moshe dale? Wouldn't be me, amigos. What the fuck am I on about? Rami is multiple people. Yes, I know that you can use the ladders. I'm aware. I just don't know how to use the ladders in a combat sense. Like, I know you can, I've just... Like, what are you supposed to do there? Like, so I know it's a possibility, I just don't know how. Like, somebody tried to explain it to me once and then decided I was a lost cause. God, I did the fucking thing where you, like, put your hands, group them together. Is that? Then you get hit a bunch. Get hit, motherfucker. Hey, we got one apple from that. Yeah, okay. Did not know it was for that. I thought it was a thing where you, like, attacked them while on the ladder. Didn't know it was just a grouping thing. My one skill is that. It's a pretty shit skill. Let's be honest here. Hey. Slam them on the ground. Where they belong. In the snow. Where they blend in. Oh my god. Are these people from Ireland? No, probably not. People from Ireland never wrap up this heavily. It just... Genuinely, it's kind of terrifying. It's like, oh, it is -3 degrees outside. Why are people going around in shorts? The roads are covered in ice. Why are you in shorts? What are you doing? Why Why have you put a tan on? You're not fooling anybody. Mainly because you look like an Oompa Loompa. And we have not seen the sun in days. It was so warm earlier. Ooh. It was 6 degrees earlier. It's been consistently 6 degrees for a long time. For like a month and a half. I hate California winter. Question, how cold is it in currently? For you, not for me. I want to know a comparison on as to whether I should mock you or not. Just a bit chilly? Wow. So accurate. Oh, it's 3 degrees currently. 10. It's 14 degrees Celsius and you're complaining. That's most of our summer, mate. Except for 1 week in mid-July when it's like 27 and up. 61 Fahrenheit, yeah. It's 14 fucking degrees. My god, that's most of our spring. That's your winter. Jesus Christ. Sometimes I don't quite realise the difference, you know? Like, that's not warm, but it's like normal temperature for most of the year here. It's tropical coastal region. Yeah, but still. It's still jarring. Hello. Hello, hero. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the rest of your name, it won't go well. I wish it was summer all the time. I don't. I wish it was autumn all the time. I'm Brazilian. Snazzy. How is your... Yeah, it would still be day for you. How's your day going? No school either? Okay, fair enough, yeah. Sorry if I'm still breathing on the microphone. It's a thing, I'll fix it at some point. Probably not. I'll say that now, it'll take me 3 months to get around to it. It's part of my charm. Procrastination. I wish days were longer forever too. I really don't. Okay, I wish days were longer if school wasn't. No, you know what I do wish happened? That school was like put into 3 days instead of 5 and we had a 4-day weekend. Not like make the like, take the days, the hours from the 2 days you're getting rid of. Like, generally Fridays are half days in Ireland. So, well, half days. It's 4 hours instead of fucking 7. So, you know, half days. But yeah, just take those 4 hours and the fucking, like, 6 hours of classes on, like, the Thursday or the Monday even, and just plop them onto the other days. Like, sure, it would be hell to get through, but my god. It wouldn't just be like, oh, Saturday, oh, Sunday. I still feel like, months should be 28 days, because then they'd all be 4 weeks and it'll all fit in real nice. English now? What? It's in my accent? Or like, oh, the class you have. Sorry. You baffle me sometimes, Cicada. You baffle me heavily. But yeah, now I'm even more thoroughly not gonna try pronounce the rest of your name, Hero, because it will not go well. It never goes well. What am I talking about? I grab words and I'm like, I recognize that. Like, I don't know where that sentence was going. I used to take Spanish in school. I don't anymore. It didn't end well. Nothing seems to end well with me in pronunciation. Oh, but yeah, I hated how they taught it. It didn't go well. And God, like, that's not even, I know the differences vaguely between Spanish and Portuguese, but not enough. Not enough. Oh, we're gonna die here, by the way. Which, yeah. What? Oh. I'm going to be turning up the volume for this section, so I might not talk that much, because if I don't, then I won't hear the noises. Are they the same every time? Fuck. I think they might be. Oh my god. Fuck. They genuinely could be the same every single time. We're in the sky. Fly like a bird, I wanna fly away. This one never goes well. I'm sorry that you'll have to witness this. Can I play with you? Unfortunately not. My laptop isn't the best. And is already struggling and trying to set my room on fire with just me. Yes or no? No. No. I just fucking hate this fight. Sorry. But yeah, no, my laptop wouldn't survive. Woo!
Fuck. I missed this cutscenes.
I know there's gotta be like some way to do this battle well, right? I just don't know it. That, I guess. And of course you can't hit him from behind. Why would you be able to hit him from behind? God. Why would that be a thing that you'd be allowed to do? Oh, yeah. Hey! Sé que te vas a las 9. Sé que me muero a las 10. I don't remember the rest of the song. It's a little awkward. It's just a tad. I should have turned the volume down. But that's not something that I did. So I'll just suffer, I guess. Yeti is a good option. Yeah. It's mainly just... Is there any way to dodge the... And now we're... Yeah. Hey, at least I called it. Is there any way to dodge the icicles, though? Hey, at least be happy that I'm no longer doing it potionless. I remember the days. I've never seen anyone die to an icicle. To be fair, I went in at like half health and didn't have any potions on me and got him down below half, so I'd say that that went pretty well for the odds. Fuck. Oh no, it's not the same every time. Yeah, no, okay. God, it's spiting me. Still? Okay.
Fuck.
I'm great at this game. What are you talking about? Yep, yep, fantastic. I'm great at this fight. Definitely. Yep. Uh-huh. There isn't a single flaw in my technique. Not a single one. You could not call out a flaw with me as a human being. I could though. Oh, piss off with your fucking icicles, you twat. You fucking 5-year-old. I would also like to say, okay, in English we're reading Where the Crawdads Sing, right? Which is fine. I don't really like it, but it's an okay book. It's pretty well written for, even if the contents are, you know what, a little odd, to put it lightly, in my opinion. But my friends don't understand the thing of spoilers. Like, you don't just go around and be like, oh my god, this thing happens at the end of the book. Like, Jesus. Like, I didn't say I liked it, but maybe I wanted to read it myself. Like, right after asking me where I was in it as well. It's like, I sit at the same table with you. I'm not fucking deaf.
Ah.
Again. I hate this fucking level. I hate it so goddamn much. An unwarranted amount, I will admit. But my god, it is... I just... Ugh. I'm at 619 words, hell yeah. Oh no, you're just doing the fun thing, where you do nothing fucking else! You clearly made contact! You stopped moving! Ah! I hate this fucking level. I hate this level so goddamn much. It's... Ooh. Ooh, I despise it with my whole heart. Thank you, Hero, for the follow. Sorry if I hadn't mentioned it yet. I hate this level so much. You can do it, can I? Can I really? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine if you turned around! Ooh, the headache is not helping. You... What did you get? What caught your foot? His fucking cape? Sorry. I will be shouting a lot. I don't know, can you? You were the one that said you can do it. That's the response from teachers when they're like, I don't know, can you go to the toilet? I didn't ask you anything. You told me something. That was unwarranted. Was it? Was it unwarranted? I don't think it was unwarranted. Oh. I'm sorry, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just... Ooh. My god, I hate this level. I don't even hate Lava World this much, which is... You know, I got stuck on that for like 3 days. I don't even hate the room before Cyclops this much. I got stuck on that for 5 months. Stop teleporting to behind me, please. This is insane. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm really not. Ooh, we're almost there. Though, to be fair, in Insane, we're also fully leveled. I love the that screaming is just, it's so comical to me. That is so incredibly out of time. Unwarranted kissing scene. We love it. I have nothing to say, so I shall run along. Hey. It's boss battle time. It sure is. Aren't you excited? Aren't you so excited for this? But yeah, we might do something else after this, but I'm really not sure. Depends on how long this takes and how bad my headache is. Baguette boy, what do you do when you get attacked with a baguette? You cry. That is what you do. We have 999 coins. Something dumb again. That was fine. Spiders in his favorite shoes. Just leave them because they're more scared of you. You said something dumb again. I don't remember the words. Go on, you get bead.
Get a bead. You like jazz.
I don't know why J in that word, in that voice is so hard to do.
You like jazz.
It's like you have to get the throat ready for it, you know? It just, otherwise it can't cope properly. Do you like jazz? I don't listen to an awful lot of jazz. I don't know. It's just not something I particularly am drawn to. Yeah, fuck you. Get back. I'm pretty sure these colors mean something, but I don't really know what. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, sure, it's probably something. But what that something is, who knows? I'd say they enjoy getting bead. I think it's a personal preference for them, actually. You'll be my demise, will you? Will you, then? Good to know, really. I mean, it's so sweet of you to think of me like that. That you'll be my demise. Aww. It's Catboy time. Okay, we've got B-Boy, Catboy. Fuck. Well then, wasn't that sweet? Ba-da-da. Fuck. Nose goes. I used to have a pocket watch when I was like maybe 14. I don't remember exactly what happened to it. I think I like left it at my grandma's house at some point, and we just never found it again. Woot woot. Get bead on. I mean, God, it's the phrase "it's raining cats and dogs," but replace cats with bees and replace dogs with bees and replace rain with bees, and then you have I would say a perfect descriptor for this character's magic. It's raining. It's being bees and bees and bees. Oh my God, you could have angry bees. That is fantastic. I love that with my whole heart. I was like, oh yeah, you've got to... But no, no. No, you don't gotta. You don't gotta do the jumpy jump. It's unnecessary, in fact. One may say, not required, mayhaps. One may say. That does not indicate specifically who may say, but just that one may say it. Yeah, no, I think just going up to him and hitting him was more effective. Oh my God, their legs move so fast. What the fuck? That... I've never really realised quite how disturbing that elephant is. You know, with its little tootsies just going. They're just fucking going, man. They're just, whoo. Nothing can stop those stompers. No, that's somehow even worse.
Fuck.
Oh God, Bipolar Bear was so great for this room. Because, like, most of them were low enough to be considered, almost dead. So Bear would just go for them. Beer would just go for them. To drink, just absolutely attack them. Aggressively and with vigor. Fuck you. Give me that fruit, bitch. I wonder if anybody ever complained that they were depicting, like, fries as something that could regain HP. I wonder if anybody ever did that. We're at the 2-hour mark. Because I'll place bets and say that it probably happened. Okay, so that's what happens there. Nice. Is there anything else in this room? Not particularly. Okay, good to know. You know, for future reference and all. No, just let me be done with it. Ah. Hey, we're not even at the 2 hour mark yet. Look at us fucking go. Fuck. No, I've just started cheesing the actual Cyclops, so I don't remember my tactic for it. And then you run around like a goose with its head chopped off. Chicken, not geese. Do not chop off a goose's head. It won't end well because you will lose a limb in the process. Geese are very aggressive. They will not stand for it. Two, three, 4, 5. Oh fuck, now you're just doing it every time. Okay, good to know. Good to fucking know. I definitely have one eye that does more heavy lifting than the other. Mainly because my right eye is worse than my left. So yeah, that... yeah. Madam, 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 madam. I wonder if that... I don't know. There was this summer camp I went to a couple years back. It was basically just for teenagers. Age technically 12 to 17. But most of the youngest were 13. Right? Like no, I think it was 13 to 17. But it was like a you go there, you stay there for a couple weeks, and then you go home at the end of it thing. Or you could like go back and forth every day, but yeah, some of us just couldn't do that. It was just too much of a journey. Like that's why I never went back, because they got rid of the residential area and I couldn't drive for 2 hours every day, 5 days a week. And I remember, like, it was a delightful time. I fucking loved it. Because it was just, it was a vibe. The food, dog shit. But the people, pretty decent. Except for every now and then. There were distinctly 2 people I remember not liking at all. one person was just really loud and they were really overwhelming, and they just they just rubbed me the wrong way, and it just made me like being in a room with them was actively like I can feel my skin, I need to leave. But another person, it wasn't even just that this fellow was overwhelming. It was just that, you know, this dude was 17. Not technically an adult, but I was 13 at the time. I was very much barely a teenager. This dude was 17. And he just followed me everywhere. And and this was like I'd grown up on the internet, so I was very used to people being like, children. And I got the same fucking vibes. Leave me alone! Oh, I've just fucking died. They just fucking stomped me into the ground 5 times. What is this? But yeah, and it just followed me just around constantly. And it was so unsettling. Because this was like about halfway through. So like I would consider the people that I was talking to my friends, but also it was like, but I wasn't gonna like retreat to them for help, even though they probably would have been fine with it, because I was terrified of people. And yeah, I'd known these people for like a week and a half at most. And like, are they immune to bees? No, they're not immune to bees. Nobody's immune to bees. Nobody is immune to bee times. I think some people are allergic to bees in this game. I genuinely think it's a possibility. I've never actually gotten stung by a bee. Or a wasp. Like, in Penance though, I think, like, on the opposite end of that, I've never gotten stung by a bee or a wasp. I have, however, gotten stapled, gotten caught on barbed wire, and stood on a nail though. So I think I've paid my penance for not getting stung. Fun fact about standing on nails, the actual standing on it isn't that bad. It's the getting it out that's bad. It's removing it from your foot that's the bad part. Because generally when you step on it, it goes in. But then you have to like tug on it and shit. And I'm sorry, I'll stop. Like, I'm just saying, if there wasn't another person in the room, that would still be in my foot to this day. No, okay, it wouldn't have, but I couldn't get it out myself, is what I'm saying there. But yeah. Barbed wire, also not that bad. You could get an infection, but the actual barbed wire itself, not too bad. I should have gotten more potions. I need to check something. Just fucking blocking your body there. Okay. No, it doesn't work. Okay. God damn. Drat, one may say. Wait. Oh, no! I was like, surely the bees will get him. Apparently not. I will forever be heartbroken and will never recover from this instance of betrayal of the highest degree. I'm not sure if that was more effective or not. I really don't know. I am unaware. It would be really funny if you could just walk through the boss battles. Just be like, okay, bye. I've done my time. Okay. It just fucking dragged me, babes. What are you doing? Fuck! No! Piss off, you fucking bitch! No, walk away! Walk the fuck away! But I really don't think it's any better than just beating the shit out of them. Mainly because I only took one thing of damage there, as opposed to the like 3 I would have taken otherwise. I do feel like the food should come in this one instead of in the first one. I don't know, I just feel like it would have made more sense. Hey. There you go. We are almost certainly going to die in this one, by the way. It happens. I ran into that arrow. That was impressive. I think I prefer Necromancer to the Ice King. Ah! If my hands worked, then yes, I would. At this very second, they don't seem to be working though, so. They do not appear to be functioning properly. Savannah. I hate your fucking magnet hands. They are such bullshit. I fucking hate them so much. And I dug my keys into the side of his brittle, souped up four-wheel drive. Got my name into his leather seats. Dug a Louisville slugger to both headlights. I don't know where the fuck I am. Maybe next time he'll think. Maybe he'll just think. Never going back. The bastards in the past. Let it go, let it go, let go of me, you weirdo. 'Cause that's fucking weird. Why you grabbing me? That's a little odd. Please just stop bombing me. You know what? I feel like it's better to just... I need AirPods. Please tell me you're not listening to this just open in the classroom. Please. I will bash my head into a wall. I am? Okay. Wow. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just lovely? That's, you know, couldn't have thought of a better way to do things, really. I mean, no, not at all. Not at all. Not in the slightest. Nah. Nope. Nah. I'm going to scream. I'm not going to scream for the sake of your English class. You're welcome. Did you enjoy my serenading of your English teacher? Yeah. I was already aware. That's why I was singing, definitely. Do I really care? Not that much. I'm already on the internet. Why not dig my grave further? Why not? Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? as the river flows surely to the sea. Darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. I don't know the rest of the words, so there you go. Some things are meant to be. $108? Oh my god. Okay, listen here, you piece of shite.
Ah.
I'm gonna scream without the C. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna screen you for drugs. I just beheaded some. No, I didn't behead somebody with a B. So sorry. And the colors, they're quite hard to distinguish, you know.
Banana. Apple.
I sure do like a pole. Oh my Jesus fuck. Take me to church, I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your lights. Tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death, oh good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. Tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death, oh good God, let me give you my life. No masters or kings, when the ritual begins, there is no sweeter innocence than our gentle sin. In the madness and soil of that sad earthly scene, only then I am human, only then I am green. Amen. 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 Take me to church, I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. Tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death, oh good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I'll worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. Tell you my sins so you can Sharpen your knife off of me, that deathless death. Oh good God, let me give you my life. I'm begging of the good times, my goddess the sunlight. Keep the goddess on my side. She demands a sacrifice. Drain the whole sea, get something shiny, something meaty for the main course. That's a fine looking horse. What you got in the stable? We've a lot of stubborn faithful. That looks tasty. That looks plenty. This is hungry work. Take me to church. I'll worship like a dog at shrine of your lies. Tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife off of me. That deathless death, a good God, let me give you my life. If you couldn't see, I don't remember the start of that song. For the first time, it's not the end of the song that I don't recognize, it's the start of the fucking thing. I still have you on a bit of a high volume. Good for you! Do I look like I care? You know what? Fuck it. I'm your English teacher now. I'll teach you such a wide vocabulary. Like, unwarranted. Yeah. And fuck it. And this won't end well. That's my vocabulary. And fucking disingenuously. Yeah. What do you want to know first? Bade Nakamura? Or she Vyug she more? What about fucking Dogme Modra sa skull and ish? That's a sentence, I guess. Ní Mothlam Berla war mar Toshi on Jacker. Ní Mothlam ein over. Tama ard level. Ní Mothlam ard level. Toshi ard. Toshi on Jacker. Ní Mothlam ard level. Is Fulam ard level mata. It's Fulam. Of what lat ard level mata? No. Recently, I've discovered that I already knew that some people found Irish accents attractive, right? Don't understand why, but some people do. It's a thing. I recently found out that some people find, like, Highland Scotland accents attractive. Do you just not want to know what the person you're making out with is saying? Is that it? Is that what's happening there? Because I am heavily exposed to Scottish accents, and even I can't really understand the fucking chookter. we'll put your feely hands to a rest here. Yeah. Your feely hands, they've been put to rest. I do hope your English class enjoyed Take Me to Church, though. Are we ready for the final boss? Are we ready to rumble? Oh, one of the fuckers. Yeah, fuck you. Oh yeah, fucking... Get bead, bitch. I'm just gonna follow him around, because if you follow him around proper on red, then you can do some real fucking damage. I don't know, it's something about him going left that, like, does some fucking... I really don't know why. Wanna do some bailages? Yeah. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at you, baby, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Are you ready to fucking die? Backstreet's back, alright. Bow, down, down, down. I still don't know how to do this fight. I just don't. I also just fucking hate the way this screen works because it's so hard to see anything. Yeah, you just constantly fucking hit. I don't understand how you get through this without getting hit. Like, obviously there's a way to do it, because sometimes they'll just do the drift to the side thing with you. But I don't get it. I don't understand it, and it infuriates me. Less so than the Ice King. Yeah, he just does that thing sometimes. It's like, what are you doing? Hello, frog fellow. Or did this scare me when I was a kid? I think it kind of scared everybody. I think it scared everybody when they were kids. I think it's just a kind of scary thing. It's like I know that one fucking terrified me. Maybe you were an arachnophobe as a child. Okay, I will not lie, this also infuriates me a little bit. I fell for the bamboozle. Thanks, King. Okay, you can hit him while he's up there, which I did not know beforehand, which is useful information. What? Okay. If you get anything right. If you get anything about the situation correct, then yes, you can hit him when he's up there. Ah. Yeah, no, see, this is where the thing for fucking volleyball kicks back in. And when he's ruined. This and when he's ruined. When he's a little frog boy. Stop schmoovin'. I hate it when you schmooze.
I am infuriated. Do not let my tone of voice suggest otherwise. As I assure you, I am. Oh, I am.
Yeah, fuck you. Not literally, obviously. So how we doing? Actually, I will be back in a second. I'm gonna let the credits run. I'll be back. I am so fucking speedy. Look at me go. But yeah, sorry, had to do a thing very quickly. And did not want to just abandon you on the be right back scene when there's this perfect opportunity with something still going in the background. You know, it's like you gotta pick and choose your moments. You really gotta pick and choose them. And now this right here, I'm gonna be honest, is my favorite kissing scene of the princesses. I do love it. It's so sweet and wholesome. It means a lot to me, right? It means so much to me. Yeah, fucking clown. You've already made out with 3 princesses and you want to kiss another one? Fucking weirdo. That's weird. You really want to make your way around all 4 sisters? Get a grip. Yeah. Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da, da-da-da, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da. I think we're gonna do another thing. I think we're gonna do some dwarf romantic for probably about half an hour. I think that's what we'll do today. Well, now. Because I don't want to just play more Castle Crashers. Cuz don't want to start one and get like 2 minutes in and then be like, "Oh yeah, sorry. Gots to go." Is it going to show up? Is it going to It's not going to show up. Okay, nice. Why any specific window? That one. There you go. Yes, I have been playing this in my free time. No, I will not apologize for it. It is. God, it is. It's a nice game. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. It's just little tiles, and you tile them, and then they go boom, and then ooh. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. That's what it is. Mm. Am I the best at it? Fuck no. But it's something. Is it fantastic? No, not in the slightest. Not whatsoever. But it's relaxing. Not even really relaxing. It's so just like, oh, why did that happen? It's a lot. But hey, I still enjoy it. No, we won't put that there. Pop that off the side of there. Sure. Why not? Why? Why fucking not? Mm. So we go with that. We're more likely to find a 2. Are we more likely to find a 2? I'm not sure if we're more likely to find a 2. We're probably more likely to find a 1 than a 2. But it's all okay. I'll just cry myself to sleep. It's all good. I'll just weep. Do we have a connection? We can have a connection. Look at that. It's down 1,005. Okay, maybe I played this game a little too much. But it's all good. Look at that. 2 more houses. Look at it go. Look at it work, I guess. I suppose. This is a mess. Okay, so we need basically a straight there. I'm pretty sure my plan was to connect those 2 up and have one really long one, but that's obviously not going to happen now, is it? That looks like a stethoscope. I haven't been to the doctor in a really long time. I should probably do that at some point. I need to get so much ID. Like, my passport's out of date. I'm supposed to get my provisional license soon. I have to get my PPS card for that, and it's like, I have to get my card for that. It's, ooh. I'm gonna be able to buy so much stuff. I don't think I'll ever not have a form of ID on me. I don't think it'll ever happen. My sister is now playing Farming Simulator. What is this? This monstrosity. Oh, no, she was playing Farming Simulator. She's no longer playing Farming Simulator. Whoopsies. I can't read. I'm not sure how to feel about that. She just plays Farming Simulator in her free time. It's just a thing she does. And it's like, yeah, sure, go for it, but my god. Are you okay? Are you doing okay in there? So most of them are happy. There you go. Skin unlocked Beaver Lodge. Hell yeah. I'll take a Beaver Lodge. Pop him there. We'll just pop him down right there. This isn't Hexseed, this is bootlegged. Well, it's not Hexseed because it's got, little things. Like, look at these little houses. Look at this goddamn train. Look at it go. Look at the train go. But yeah, no. I've just found out there are a lot of hexagon based games. This being one of them. And it's just like, goddamn, there's a whole world out here for me. It's my genre of game. Hexagon. That's my genre. It's my favorite genre. Look at that fucking go. Not quite, not quite. We'll pop him there. Just pop him right in. I've only 22 tiles left. I'll never survive. Going to die. I mean, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. Let's just put it like that. Yeah, okay. There is a town one. Okay. Okay, good to know, good to know.